What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec, ZBCN today. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 6th day of February. And here we are sitting at about $0.002167, up 33% on this day. Beautiful. You were up a lot more. You were up at like 50% at one point, I think, from a low to a high overall. This day has brought you a 67% pump from the open to the high. It was a 54% rally. What you're doing right now, it seems, is effectively what you're doing is you're finding resistance at prior areas of local support, right? Yes, you wicked through it a little bit, but there's a lot of resistance right here, and you're definitely finding some turbulence. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, okay? But if we can't get above about 00, let's say 0028, this actually might be a good area to start offloading some ZBCN, unfortunately. Because let's call a spade, let's call it what it is. Right on Bybit. Volume was picking up as you're breaking down. We got a lot of volume today, but I'm sure a lot of that's also coming in the form of selling. There's a lot of selling. The most volume is at the top, not on the way up. We had a lot of. If we had the most volume at the bottom and it was reverse, I might be a little bit more optimistic. But I think there's some offloading here. I think there's smart money that's taking the chance to offload right here. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but here at 00215, maybe it's a good time to sell. Maybe it's not. I still think we could go a little bit higher. I don't know if we get above these highs though, right? That's the question. Let's look at the short-term stuff and see what's going on. See what the indicators are saying, and we'll try to go from there. Okay. But understand, again, what you're doing right now, it just seems as though you're back testing prior resistance, prior support for resistance, and that's not a good look. Let's see. Low to high here. Low to high here. And I'm talking this way so much so because you are up 32%. You were up 54% today. Euphoria can happen. So I'm trying to bring it back to earth with the harsh tone a little bit here, right? Still love ZBCN. Still think it's got a whole future ahead of it that will see higher highs, new all-time highs, and all that stuff. It's just the whole bull market dynamic is screwed up and thrown off right now. So the timing will be completely off. Going from the golden ratio to your 0.5382 area for resistance, and then coming back down to the golden ratio, typically you don't find support here that sends you higher. Typically, maybe you find a little support, maybe you do whatever, but typically from there you'll go lower to the 786, 886. I'm not saying that's what has to happen from here, because we haven't done this yet. We've only done this so far. If ZBCN can close above the 382, which is at 002938, and again, the word I used was not to get above, but to close above here on any given day, this will validate this as a low, and we can start talking about the prospects of going higher. Okay. Again, I do wonder, and maybe I misspoke whenever I said we were breaking out here. Maybe we're not breaking out. It looks like we're breaking out, but perhaps we're just in the same old channel that you've been in this whole time. And in which case, maybe we do come up here, but that doesn't necessarily mean, again, that we're breaking out and going to new highs. We might just, come down and continue to do this thing for the coming months, for the coming year of 2026. I want to look at the indicators on the short term and see what's going on, though, because I do have a feeling we're going to see a little bit of volatility here. When I say volatility, I mean we could go a little bit lower, but I would expect that we do come up a little bit, back to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a higher high. The reason why is there's a lot of volume here, and while, yes, that is selling pressure, we could see a higher high. There's less volume, and that's a clear sign that we are probably going to sell off and go lower. And with that, you might have bearish divergence on your indicators, stuff like that. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Is it a good time to sell now? Well, it's a lot better than it was earlier today. But I think if you're patient, you might be able to if you want to opt out of ZBCN, you might have a better opportunity to do so versus these prices. I mean, the difference here could be anything from an 18% difference to a 36% difference. I mean, it's an immense range that we could of possibilities that we could achieve here. 1 hour time frame. Looking at this, the RSI is pretty strong, pretty deep in the overbought zone there. You don't typically, famous last words, man. In my most recent times that I've said this, both times it didn't work out. Typically, though, not what happened most recently, but statistically speaking, in all of the happenings, when you get this deep in the RSI, it's not a standalone moment, right? Typically, it's not. Typically, there's more to come, typically, right? Like here, when you got this deep, when you got this deep overbought, there wasn't more to come. But in a sense, there was, right? Because you got this deep overbought once, you came up and you kept coming down. It wasn't just like a standalone high, like or low like this, right? You got deep here. Was that the low? No, you kept going. You kept promoting lower and lower price actions and readings. Stochastics are at the 50. That's a good area to bounce. The RSI is between the 60 and the 50. It's a good enough area to bounce. The MACD looks good. We can go lower. You can pull back a little bit more from here. You went below the 382, so you probably do. You'll probably pull back to the 382. It's very common in strong moves to tip the 382 for support and go up. Normally, I'd call for you to wick below it and then move up, and that can happen too. If we go below 00204, that's fine, but we probably don't go too much below there. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hit that and tipped that exactly, because that's prior resistance right there. It's right at the 382. You have a strong, robust move. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that. So today, this is your high. I would expect that tomorrow you see a higher price, personally. And it's the weekend. If it's not tomorrow, maybe we consolidate, and then Monday you get a higher high. I don't know. You know, like whatever, however it might work. I don't know what that was. I mean, that was a plate with some forks on it. I don't know why that noise happened, though. I don't know why. Be careful over there, okay? Okay. Let's see. I'm not getting any signs or signals from the 1 hour that tells me this is the high and we're going to see a lower low now. I'm not seeing any of that. We have seen some strong readings, and typically strong readings produce more movement, and then you slowly decay and then you roll over. But we're in volatile times. Prepare for anything, okay? If you wanted to take this as a moment to sell, I don't blame you. If you're patient and you want to wait and see what comes next, I don't blame you either. I'm kind of more in that kind of stage, but we'll see. 4 hour time frame here, looking at the RSI, you are rejecting the overbought area, not the zone itself technically, but I mean from this it looks like it. Stochastics are rejecting the overbought zone. MACD is bearish overall. Kind of interesting here. You broke out of your downtrend. I'm sticking with it. I think we do see a higher price. I don't think that we go below this low before taking out this high. I don't think so. If we do, maybe we get some kind of like double bottom and then we come up. Maybe. I don't think from here we're going to do this though. I don't think so. But perhaps we could go lower than 00204. Maybe we do find support at the golden ratio. Maybe we go a little bit lower than intended. I don't know. Something in that area, though, between 00174 to 00204, somewhere in that zone, that's where I think we'll find support. I'm calling for the 382 specifically. But if I'm wrong, the golden ratio awaits. Daily time frame, very oversold. And I want to use the same logic here that we used for the 4 hour. And this is, again, why I think if you're holding ZBCN, if you've been investing in it, if you've been waiting for this breakout to 3.5 or 3 to 4.5 cents that we've been calling for months, that's no longer on the table. This next little move up might be your chance to get out. Maybe at a slight loss, maybe slightly in the profits, maybe neutral. Or you're kind of going to be, I would assume, at the lower ends of this range, so most people would probably be in the loss slightly. But it's a lot better than what it was at the lows, that's for sure. I mean, imagine if you sold here, you're at the lower ends of this range, but then if you bought here, you're killing it, right? And we're probably going to see a lower low than that in time. Because again, I think that what we're in is a downward sloping channel. It's not a bull flag, it's a downward sloping channel. Similar but different. Same, but different. Weekly bullish divergence, hey, on the MACD, that's good. That's something promising. You can go lower and still build that divergence, though. I want to see the daily time frame. Where did I get distracted? There was something I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it was. That's okay. Oh, yes, that the standalone. The standalone, right? This is probably not a standalone reading. You probably come down, you get bullish divergence, further divergence, maybe a lower low, something like that, right? You don't typically see deep readings like this that are just standalone, which, if that's the case, you likely will see a lower low at some point. I just think we have a little bit higher to go first before that point happens. Want to line this up again. I think you're going to have a hard time getting above 0029. That's probably where you go and you find resistance. That would be, in my opinion, hold on guys, I'm sorry. If we go up here, that would be a perfect area to sell because it's really in direct trajectory with these other highs here. So that's my thoughts. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I think my mic is back on, yeah. You guys can hear me, right? Yep. I don't believe this is the high from this low. I do believe that we go a little bit higher. It's not going to be all in one fell swoop. It is the weekend, so do expect maybe a little bit of turbulence over the weekend. Maybe we do pull back to 0017 or something like that. Maybe we do go a little bit lower. But I would expect that we do come up. We probably see a higher high than this. Once we get that higher high and then we're back below this high, that is the point at which we become bearish to lower lows. Or at least I do. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I don't expect it all to be that fast. The way I'm drawing it is like we're going to go up and we're going to come down. We're going to see a higher high than this and a lower low all by the end of February. Maybe it's that fast, but probably not that fast. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this higher high come in sometime next week, though. When I say higher high, I mean from here. It's not a higher high. It's actually not a higher high. It'll be a lower high. I can't draw a straight line at all. I can't do it. But it'll be higher than this. I think that'll happen next week. If not, maybe over the weekend. And if it happens over the weekend, that's even more reason to not have faith that it's real. Weekend moves are fake most of the time. Hit that like button, subscribe, take care. I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.